Hello, friends. Welcome to Echo Your English, where you learn English by listening, repeating, and connecting with stories that touch the heart. Today's story is called The Last Letter. It is a story about love, loss, and the power of words that arrive too late, yet right on time for the soul. So, sit back, relax, and listen carefully. Repeat softly if you wish, and let the words flow through you. It was a cold Sunday morning in December. The air outside was quiet, and snow was gently falling on the streets. Inside a small wooden house, a woman named Clara sat by the window with a cup of tea. She looked tired, but peaceful. The house was filled with silence, the kind of silence that holds memories. On the table in front of her was a small box, a box she hadn't opened in years. Clara had lived alone for a long time. Her husband, Michael, had passed away 5 years ago. He was a writer, gentle, thoughtful, always lost in his notebooks. Together, they had shared a simple but beautiful life. They had no children, just books, music, and letters. Yes, letters. That's how their love began, through words written on paper.
One morning, while cleaning the attic, Clara found this small box. Inside it were dozens of old letters, yellow, fragile, and tied together with a red ribbon. Some were from the early days of their relationship, when they were young and shy. Others were from after they got married, filled with everyday stories, jokes, and tiny drawings Michael made to make her smile. But at the bottom of the box, there was one letter she had never seen before. It was sealed, neatly folded, and the handwriting said, "For Clara, open when you're ready." Her heart began to beat faster. She touched the paper carefully. It was Michael's handwriting. She could almost hear his voice in her mind, calm, soft, loving. She sat quietly for a moment, staring at the envelope. She had lived 5 years without him, thinking she had already said goodbye. But this letter felt like his voice had come back from the past. Slowly, she opened it. The paper was old, but the ink was clear. It began simply, "My dearest Clara, if you're reading this, it means I'm no longer by your side. I don't want this to make you sad. I want you to know that loving you was the best thing I ever did. Every morning that I woke up next to you was a gift I didn't deserve, but was always grateful for. I know you'll miss me, but please don't spend your days remembering my absence. Remember my laughter, my clumsy coffee spills, my songs that went out of tune. Remember how we danced in the kitchen even when there was no music." Clara smiled through her tears. She could almost hear him humming softly, like he used to when he cooked breakfast. She continued reading. "Promise me, Clara, that you will keep writing. You always said you weren't a writer, but you have the most beautiful words. The way you see the world, gentle, kind, full of wonder, that's a gift. Don't let silence take that away from you. Write, even if no one reads it. Write, even if it hurts. Words heal. You taught me that. Her hands trembled slightly as she turned the page. There was more.
One last thing, my love. You will find an empty page in this envelope. That page belongs to you. Write to me one last time. Tell me how you feel. Tell me what you've learned. Tell me that you're okay. When you finish writing, fold the letter and place it under the oak tree behind our house. That's where I buried our first love letter. That way, we'll be together again in words, in wind, and in memory. By now, tears rolled down Clara's cheeks. The words were simple, but they carried a lifetime of love. She took a deep breath and reached for a pen. She hadn't written a letter in years, but suddenly it felt like the most natural thing to do. She wrote slowly, in careful handwriting, "My dear Michael, I miss you every day, but I've learned something important. I've learned that love doesn't end when someone leaves. It changes shape. It becomes a quiet companion, a voice that whispers when I water the plants, or when I make tea for one. I kept your chair empty for too long, but today I sat there. I looked outside the window, and for the first time, I didn't feel alone. I felt you there, in the air, in the light, in the silence." She signed it softly. "Yours always, Clara." Clara folded the paper, placed it back inside the envelope, and put on her old coat. Outside, the snow was falling heavier now, but she didn't mind. She walked to the back of the house where the oak tree stood tall, its branches bare and strong. She knelt down, brushed away the snow, and placed the letter gently under the roots. For a long moment, she stayed there, eyes closed, hands on the cold ground. The world was silent again, but this silence felt different. It was no longer empty. It was full of memories, full of peace, full of words that never really die. She whispered softly, "Goodbye, my love," and smiled. As she walked back toward the house, she noticed something small and unexpected. A tiny green leaf growing from the frozen soil near the tree's base. Just one leaf alive in the middle of winter. Clara laughed quietly. It felt like a sign, a reminder that life always finds a way to begin again. She went inside, made herself a fresh cup of tea, and sat by the window. This time,
She didn't look back at the past. She looked forward, toward the snow falling gently, toward the warmth in her heart, toward the quiet that now spoke softly instead of loudly. And as the candle flickered beside her, she whispered one last line to herself. Some goodbyes are not the end. They're just the beginning of a new kind of love. The house was quiet again, but this time it was the kind of quiet that feels like peace.
Thank you for listening to Echo Your English. If you enjoyed this story, listen again tomorrow and repeat the sentences slowly. The more you listen, the more natural your English will become. And remember, every story you hear teaches you not only new words, but also something about life, love, and the language of the heart. Until next time, keep listening, keep feeling, and keep echoing your English.